through 19. We begin with agenda item number 11, Transportation Corridor Agency Fiscal Year 2019 Budget. Item 12, excuse me, is the Foothill Eastern Transportation Budget. We will take the budget presentations on for both boards now, but we will be voting separately when we come to the approval or disapproval or wherever we go. So Amy, would you lead us off, please?
Yes, good morning.
Thank
This
you.
item is a request to approve the fiscal year 19 budget for each of the agencies. The budget process began when we started presenting some of these items to our committees in March and April. And then
the whole board
in
does
April,
not
we
hear
also
them.
had our traffic and revenue consultant come and make a presentation to the board. And then on April 25th, we provided a budget workshop where we looked at the budgets in detail and then took those recommendations and incorporated them into the budget and presented that budget again May 24th at the Joint Operations and Finance Committee meeting. So today my presentation is very short and then I will open it up to questions. The sources included in the Foothill Eastern budget total $589.9 million, and the sources in the San Joaquin Hills budget total $389.9 million. And the expenditures for the Foothill Eastern budget total $202.1 million. And for the San Joaquin Hills, the expenditures total $140.7 million. These budgets meet the fiduciary responsibility of the Board of Directors to the bondholders and also align with the agency's stated goals.
What are the agency's stated goals?
So you have before you in your packet resolution for San Joaquin Hills, and this summarizes what is included in that resolution. And here is the summary of the Foothill Eastern resolution that is included in front of you. And so with that, the recommendation for San Joaquin Hills is to approve resolution S 2018-02 to approve the budget for fiscal year 19 in the amount of $140,658,943, and for the Foothill Eastern to approve resolution F 2018-02.
Kramen, what are
approving
the
budget for
stated
fiscal year
goals?
19 in the amount of
What did you submit to Caltrans without the board's approval?
$261,271. That concludes my
Without
report. and I would
public
be happy
input?
to address questions.
Thank
What
you.
did you
Before
submit?
we take questions, could you put the first slide up that you presented, please? Thank you. So I just want to remind the public that this is not the first time that the board in toto has seen this budget and has discussed this budget. There have been a number of committee meetings, including operations and finance,
That's not the entire board,
that have
Ed.
taken place before we've gotten to this point. So this is just a clarification for the public to understand how we got to this point. I now will entertain a motion to move the budget, or anyone who has anything they'd like to discuss.
So move for San Joaquin.
San Joaquin needs a second.
Second. Chair, we skipped questions on the budget.
No, I haven't.
You mentioned questions, if we had questions.
I asked for questions. I didn't hear or see anybody. So do you have a question,
Yes, I
please?
do.
Director Ward.
Thank you. On page 8 of the budget, hopefully you have
which-
that in front of you.
Yes,
Thank
are
you,
you
Ms.
talking about
Ward.
Foothill Eastern or San Joaquin?
Foothill Eastern,
Okay.
I believe, yes. There was one line that I didn't understand. Are you there yet?
Yes, I am.
Okay. It says estimated total funds on hand at June 30th, 18.
Page 12.
$664,736,000. July activity related to to fiscal year 18, $63,875. What is that? I didn't understand that amount. July activity related to 2018 and it's $63 million.
Yes, so those, since we're showing you the cash budget or the expected cash on hand of the 664 million, there are some expenditures that relate to fiscal year 18 that will be paid in July. The majority of that is debt service.
Okay, so you took that out.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's the only question I have, but I will have some comments on the 241 budget.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question since this involves also approving fees. Is that correct?
This is just the budget. I don't
Right.
believe we're approving fees.
Well, within the budget, what I just saw in the presentation is the budget includes toll road revenues, fees, and whatnot. So this would
It
include
includes the
development fees,
revenues
correct?
that we would expect to collect, that is
Right.
correct.
So just simply out of respect for the audience of the members that gave comments today, just can you please review with us, have we actually reviewed the development fees each year? How are those assessed and discussed? Because I believe they are per what we've reported out to the public through our website and minutes and archives and committee meetings. So can you just quickly remind the public of when those development fees are reviewed each year annually per the JPA agreements?
With regard to the fees themselves, the board had adopted a resolution years back to automatically increase the amounts each year. However,
The
we
TCA
do
claimed that was
analyze
1997.
what we collect and the fees and make
So
findings.
staff is
And
analyzing.
present that each year in a board report.
A board
that's
report, not a
along with our
vote.
diff audits. So we have our annual diff audits, and then we also have the Mitigation Fee Act reporting requirements. There's a 1-year requirement, and then every 5 years there's a different requirement. We follow that and report that to the board every year.
So there is an annual report to the board.
There is.
Correct. And I do appreciate on the website it is easy to find that the development fees and the rates by zones that we do have. And Mr. Chair, I would say that in Anaheim we're having a pretty intense discussion currently about fee structures in our city as they relate to the ability to promote the building of affordable housing generally, as well as attracting commercial development. So at this time, I would like to abstain on that component of the increasing the fees automatically of 2%. I'm not fully comfortable with that from the perspective of our city, since we're in the midst of a discussion of that. So I seek your direction on how I might move our city from supporting the increase of development fees this year for our city.
So I would rely upon counsel, Mr. Joseph.
The action before the board is not to approve the fees themselves, it is to approve the budget. So a vote to approve the budget would not be a vote to approve the setting of the fee levels. That action was taken, as Ms. Potter referenced at a prior meeting.
In 1997, you guys
institute an
claimed.
annual increase in the fees. That's not being acted upon by the board at this time. That's not.
No, nor has the board done their
However, by
fiduciary
voting,
duty.
we are affirming that we approve those fee increases. I mean, we could. I don't understand. We're approving a budget that includes a structured set of revenues, and so if we don't approve of where those revenues are coming from, how would we? I don't want to mess with the entire budget. I just
Sure.
want to make sure that our city's on record.
The action to set the level of the fees has already been taken, and there is no proposed action before the board to change that.
When was the
or to
action
adopt
taken?
That's already been adopted.
Correct. So if
1997.
one of the member cities has
So you claim?
reviewed and reflected on those fee increases, and we are in the midst of discussing those in our city, how might I then represent that in this budget?
Well, I would suggest that perhaps the forum to address that issue would be when the annual report is submitted to the board and the fees are considered, as Ms. Potter explained.
So if the will of the board was to go one direction with fees, despite perhaps what it may mean for a city, which is what I'm contemplating today in today's budget, how might I abstain from that component of the budget? Help me.
Yeah.
Mr. Joseph,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, is it possible that the director may be allowed to vote one way or another based on the budget and footnote his concern with regards to
I was
fee
going to
structure?
suggest to state on the record that your vote is not to be taken as an approval of the fees themselves. I think that would be sufficient to preserve the record.
Does that satisfy you, Director?
You know, I think just to keep it clean, I'll just because this is on the record regardless, I'll just not support this budget at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Moreno.
Just to keep it as clean as possible, I think. So
Good job.
But I want to make sure the board knows
As
exactly
the
why.
time goes forward,
Thank
you
you
would
very
never
much.
be
That's
personally named.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you. Martinez, I just read briefly, and I know it's my first day here, but I